Hi folks, this is Riffing with Jeza, episode 5. So I'm just walking around at the moment, listening to one of my songs I've been working on. And it's quite interesting. In the last week or two I felt incredibly restless. And the one area of my life that I'm so happy with is my creative writing with music. And as I'm walking around, I'm noticing how I'm looking around at the same things and it's bringing a peace to what I see that feels a different experience to walking around without that music. In other words, you're looking at a tree, for example, or a telephone pole. Let's say telephone pole, it's pretty funny. Getting old school there. But anyway, let's say I'm looking at a pole, right? Whatever the fuck it is, electricity. I'm looking at a pole, and the pole, in my normal life, I walk around with the emotional body that sees that pole, that sees that object, and that colours the perception of that pole. It's kind of like, how the background you put around something visually changes the foreground. It's kind of like that. And so I was listening to this music and it was taking me into a really quite serene place. It's taken me into a place of ease, which I haven't had much of lately. And I was just quite amazed by the transformative and transmutative capacity of the music to settle my nervous system and settle my senses that are perceiving the reality. And it just got me thinking about this whole thing, that the whole way you experience reality is through your emotional body. And so the emotional register of your emotional body is actually how you perceive life, whether things are annoying or a blessing or whatever. And it's quite interesting because again, this is sort of a tack on to the last episode where I'm just having this reawakening of just how powerful music is. And sometimes, and I'm saying this as someone who's done enormous amount of training in psychological methods, probably too much, a bunch of it a waste of time, but sometimes the only thing that gets me out of my emotions, that gives me liberation and freedom, actually is music. In spite of the fact that, I know a million techniques under the sun. And so, this is just a quick episode. I've got to go over session soon, so maybe I'll come back to this, but this point, sorry about all this traffic noise, this aspect to the way music can change the frequency, can change your perception of reality as you listen to it. Like, it's quite amazing. As I said, I've had a pretty I'm starting to get restless and I'm annoyed. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. But my creativity with the music hasn't missed a beat. If anything, it's probably got better. And it's interesting because sometimes I find this, I need edge. I hope this is not the reality, but I certainly find that when I have edge in my life, it brings an air of desperation to the music. It brings kind of more passion to it. But it's interesting because it just as I said, I was just sitting there, well not sitting there, I was walking around listening to this, just noticing just how much, just how deeply it was, affecting, my perception and reality. And so basically, like as I'm looking around, like what it does is that those things that are, frustrating me, those areas of frustration, I would say that's the main emotion I've had in the last couple of weeks, frustration. It's interesting, like often people will come in, like this is people I see for sessions, like there'll be a specific emotion that's underpinning everything. And if you can relieve that emotion, then it affects everything. And anyway, so for me in the last couple of weeks, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, it's been frustration. The number one emotion has been frustration. And so as I listen to the music, and the funny thing about frustration is frustration brings more frustration because, like the other day, like I was a bit annoyed, and it's two stupid fuckwit dogs have a crack at me same day. Here in Costa Rica, no one gives a fuck about locking up their dogs. So 90% are fine, probably 99%. But every now and then you get a fuckwit dog who's probably picking up my pissed off energy or something. Or maybe the dog's just a dick or whatever. And it's, it wants to have a little tussle with you. So, but it's, maybe that would have happened, maybe that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a bit annoyed. But one thing's for sure, I definitely notice when I'm frustrated, more things go wrong to support that. And then you get frustrated because you're doing it too. You know that you're part of that picture. And so you almost get in a loop, a feedback loop. And then you get angry at yourself because, fuck, I'm doing it. But it's interesting because, music can be like a drug, like almost like a drug in the sense that, this, sometimes if you have a thought and, you can conjure up a feeling from that thought and vice versa. You can have a feeling and then that creates a thought. But if you're trying to pick yourself up out of a mood, it's quite interesting because sometimes music's almost like a drug in the sense that, like if you get somebody who sings with feeling and soul from their depth and from their heart, from their vulnerability, it just permeates your body and it just caresses every little challenge you have. And not only that, it's almost like it knows every little challenge you have and it knows how to get inside it and soothe it. And then from that place, little insights come. Little ideas. Because when you're in the mode of just the emotion, it's just a one-way brick wall. But when you just get the little gaps and the little periods of peace and rest, then you start to get some little beautiful nuggets that came in. So anyway, when I was out walking, I was noticing how the music was doing this to me again. And as I said, this is a kind of a follow-on from last week's session. And anyway, I just wanted to bring that up again today, that I'm just having this experience. And at the moment, I'm just going through a phase where I'm planning to do just an intense period of just creativity, because part of my frustration is I've actually got a little bit more time than I'd like. So I'm going to do an intense period of creativity. And as I said, sometimes during the frustration, the creativity is better than ever. What comes through is better than ever. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so that's kind of it for today. Again, it's sort of like a little bit of a rehash, but yeah, it felt guided through today, so I said it. And yeah, again, about the power of music. Cool. That's it from me. Riffing with Jeza. We're riffing with Jeza.